Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Dawson. Welcome to Leader Talk. This show is proudly brought to you by Brainiact. Each week we are meeting with incredible leaders from around the world to discuss all things leadership and business insights. Each person coming on this talk show has given up their valuable time for one very clear purpose: to give back to small and medium business owners. Now, are you struggling with sales and not quite sure where you should be focusing your time? Perhaps you think cold calling is a thing of the past. Perhaps you're even busy building a simple online brand and are just getting no leads. Well, today, Gus, Arianto, and I are fortunate to chat to our guest, Matt Lakajev, founder and CEO of UnlockAI. Matt has been awarded the #1 fastest growing LinkedIn content creator in Australia. UnlockAI empowers businesses to automate their LinkedIn lead generation with AI. It's based on Matt's strategies and offers a transformative approach to enhancing online brand presence and accelerating lead acquisition on LinkedIn. Matt is here today to teach us all how to build our own online brand on LinkedIn and also how to use this to generate warm leads for our business. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks. Pumped to be here. I'm super excited for this chat as well. Should be good.
Thanks for donating your time for our audience, Matt. We appreciate your help.
I'm excited. It's going to be awesome.
Matt, we're going to begin this chat with the 2 fun questions. We always ask our guests 2 fun questions, and we couldn't help but ask you this one. Cool. If you could create any AI assistant at all to help you with any aspect of your work, what would you want it to do?
It may already be out there, but I would want an AI that records me doing every action I do on my computer and my phone in the way that I do it. And it also has a recording thing of me speaking about the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then after a period of time, it will learn what it wants to do and it will just automate everything.
Oh, that's also another Matt. Just another version.
So how do I just multiply myself through automation? So it just records everything that I do over like a month. And then at the same time, it records me speaking about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then it can get to the point where it can just do what I would normally do and speak the way I would speak.
Oh, I love it. I love it. With your knowledge, I'm sure this is perhaps a thing of the future. And what about beach vacation or mountain getaway?
I would probably choose right now beach vacation because I'm going to Noosa this week. So I got to choose that. So I'm going to Noosa for 6 days. So choose beach, which is going to be super good. I'm excited.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. And, we gave a bit of a brief intro to you at the beginning, but we'd love for our audience to know more about you, your background, your business. So if you can let us all know more about Matt Lakajev, that would be great.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give you my kind of the shorter summary. So I used to be a professional barista that traveled around the country doing latte art tournaments, which is actually a thing. And then did that for like 8 years, owned a cafe with my brother, super fun, not that much money. So we sold that. I decided to go into accounting, realized I hated accounting and tried to search for something else. And then in 2018, one of my friends was working at Zoom at the time. So this was before COVID. And hit him up and he's like, you should do this sales thing. You can earn more money if you sell more stuff. And I was like, seriously? I can increase my income. And so I somehow got a job there before COVID, which was crazy. People didn't even know what video conferencing was. And then found my love of sales, which I've been doing now for like 7 or 8 years. My first role in sales, what I did was an online chat role. We have to chat people to convince them to talk to a sales rep. And I became the #1 in the world after 6 months of that, out of about 150 people, just by chatting to like way more people. But it helps having a lot of hospitality experience. And then stay there for 3 years. So during COVID, it like Zoom exploded. And so I was there before, during and after. And then I left there, went to another software sales job, but wanted to get back into entrepreneur stuff. So I jumped into another company, which I knew the owner, company where we did essentially Telstra phone audits. Any company that has like more than 50 employees is just getting rorted by their Telstra bill because it's like 5,000 pages long and you have no idea what's on it. So I just sat where I am right now. I cold called about 5,000 businesses, booked about 150 meetings. And then in 5 months, we did about $1 million of sales that financial year, just from cold calling people, didn't do any social stuff. And then left there because I wanted to grow the business, but my business partner didn't. We're still really good buddies, so we went out the other week. So I decided to start this business, helping small businesses like generate leads. And it slowly evolved into more of a cold email thing, into showing business owners how to leverage LinkedIn and their brand to generate more warm leads and less volume. Because most business owners don't need a crazy amount of leads. They think they do, but they only need good leads and good discussions, because most businesses are built off referrals. But if you leverage LinkedIn correctly with your digital network, like your in-person network, you can build business through that platform. That's not a weird salesy thing, because I found it's very difficult to book a meeting from a cold call for a small business owner to try and sell, because they've never actually had to sell from cold before. They've only received referrals, which is very, very different. So the reason we use LinkedIn, so now I run a program which has over 300 people in it, like a coaching program where we have multiple coaches, online sessions, multiple live events every single week. And we coach small business owners, solopreneurs and consultants how to generate 5 warm leads a week on LinkedIn. And that's what I do now.
I love it. Barista turned lead extraordinaire. Like, it's a story in itself. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
wonderful.
It's been funny.
It's great. And look, if we start off talking about our personal online brand, Matt, how difficult, or how can one actually translate, or where do they even begin to make who they are offline digitized, so it's online, in an online brand? It sounds quite complex. Like, how raw do we even have to be in this?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually not complex, and it's people just make it complex. But I'll first break down what a personal brand is, or a digital brand, because that'll help. Nowadays with technology, say before technology 20 years ago, still now it still works, but the way you got business was you attended events, you flew overseas and went to seminars, you took business cards, like you went to networking events. I'm not saying they're bad, they're still amazing, I do them, but like that was the way you did it. But then as technology's progressed, there's now a way that you can show yourself and your brand online just like you are offline, because a lot of executives have built up connections over 30 years, and that's their network of connections. Building a LinkedIn profile for yourself and creating content or writing a piece around, about yourself and putting it out there and speaking to people online, it's just an online networking brand like offline. It's the exact same thing. The difference is that it's leverageable. So when you write a post on LinkedIn and put it up, you don't have to one-to-one speak to people. It's one-to-many. So it's great because it's like, one-to-many, you can build trust with people over time. Because in networking senses, how many coffee catch-ups can you do a day? Not that many. Like, you can do a lot. But like, if I can write like the newsletter I wrote yesterday, got say 10,000 impressions, let's say 500 people read it, right? That's 500 people that I'm building trust with at scale. But then at the same time, not just building content, I can also message these people on the platform, but I can speak to 5 people at one time, let's say. And so it's a way that you can scale networking, so you can complement your offline brand of who you are, just online. And so there's a big kind of misconception that I need to have all this fancy stuff. You're essentially just putting yourself online. And nowadays it's not like a choice whether I have an online brand or not. You have one by not choosing to have one. And then that's essentially damaging your reputation, because when someone goes to I kind of discovered this because I'm in a networking group called BNI, and I didn't understand why everyone couldn't get business every week, because they've been in business 25 years. And I remember one day Googling one person in particular, and there just nothing came up. It's like they didn't exist. And then I looked at their LinkedIn profile and it looked terrible. It was a 15-year-old photo. They had no banner. I don't even know what they did. So it's like, by them not choosing to have that brand, you're actually damaging your brand against someone else. So the way you want to do it and set it up is, the easiest thing to do is just create a LinkedIn profile, create a banner, and just make it look like it shows what you do, kind of like a simple website, and just have it at least filled out so it looks professional. That's the first thing to do, like as a basic thing before you create content or anything. Just so when people Google you, it's like you actually exist. Because if you don't exist in Google, it puts a little seed of doubt in someone before you even get into a sale. It's like, okay, is this person even legit? Like, and then they'll look at someone else who may be a competitor, and it's like, okay, this person has a great LinkedIn post, and they posted last week. Oh, and my buddy I used to work with 5 years ago commented on their post. Okay, they must be a good person, even though they might be not as good as you are.
Yeah. Matt, can I ask you a question? Why LinkedIn though? I'm a small business located in Melbourne, say, or located in anywhere around Australia. My business might not be relevant to LinkedIn network. There's a lot of CEOs, there's a lot of people in corporations. I own a cafe. Wouldn't it be better to be in local social media? Why LinkedIn? Why LinkedIn?
Definitely. I don't think I think a lot of people think that there's a choice around between like, I've got to go this or that. Most of them, you've got to just have a presence. So you don't need to post on every platform. You just need to look legitimate. And I do agree, for a cafe, because I used to own a cafe, Instagram is probably the best, right? For a cafe, because you're making beautiful food. I've still got my old Instagram up as well. We built it to about 25,000 followers at the time. It worked really good. The reason you have a LinkedIn, though, is to build your professional personal brand, because that follows you wherever you go, just like your reputation does. So whether you leave the cafe, which I did, and then went into accounting and went into sales, wherever you go, you have an audience of people that are watching you. And with LinkedIn, the average person on the platform earns 3 times as much as every other platform. So it's like the saying of like, you are the surrounding of the closest 5 people to you. It's the same with your online experience. Like LinkedIn is the only place where really high net wealth individuals and executives look at the feed and find it believable, because when they look in Facebook, they just see these like really cringeworthy coaching ads that tell you you're going to get 20 leads in the first week, or they'll give you $5,000 and send your kids to Disneyland. And like, you're just like, okay, this is just a load of like whatever. So it's like having actual legitimacy and brand of yourself as well. And you may not find very specific clients on there, but you may find relationships which are of higher value than a specific client, because it is B2B. But if you're B2C, it doesn't mean you only sell B2C. Like, you do want to find strategic partnerships and alliances with other people at the same time.
That's great. I want to ask about authenticity, Matt. When it comes to building an online presence, you see those polished photos, those really, they might not necessarily be, how you're feeling that day or what you're experiencing. I know Jared, my husband, once did a post, a really tough week, and he sat back on the lounge at like midnight, took a photo and put a raw, authentic photo of how he looked at that time, and the copy reflected it. And believe it or not, he got incredible engagement because he was being authentic. How does authenticity play a big part in building an online brand?
It's becoming everything now. So Gary Vee popularized, there's like the marketing term, jab, 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 right hook. But he very much talked about, say 10 years ago, around, you've just got to start producing content and just start putting stuff out there. That was when all the platforms weren't getting saturated. Now you have to have a unique identifier and your unique self as well. And one of the best ways to build bond and trust with people is just being your authentic self. It's like, and it's kind of weird because like everyone knows those people who are like really confident and they jump into a room and they just speak to everyone and they just speak their mind and they just like attract other people. It's the same thing with an online brand. And it's also realizing that only 5 to 10% of the people will take a really strong liking towards you on the market online as well. And so by being more authentic, you're kind of pigeonholing yourself a little bit, but you're pigeonholing yourself to get people who actually like you and kind of bond with you. And the nice thing about the online experience is it's cross borders. So it doesn't matter. So like in our program, I have people from the UK, US, all over Asia, Europe. It literally doesn't matter. And so I've found like I've got friends like now just all like in Spain and here, and we bonded a lot, but we've just never had that in-person bonding. But you have an audience that you can build, which is a lot bigger, but you can't do it by not being authentic, because people see through that. It's like there's a brand, a guy now called Alex Hormozy, who's having a big come up right now. Yeah. He's like one of the most authentic brands ever. He just only talks about what he wants to talk about. Some people think he's like rude or whatever. You know, some people don't like him, but like he's just being himself. And so he has this now, like this following of like young males who want to jump into entrepreneurship. Like I'm very convinced he's going to be one of the richest people in the world in 10 years. Like I'm very convinced, because he's won over like a whole generation of people from being like authentic. So I just don't think you can even get a brand online if you're not authentic as well. Because if you're not authentic, you can't fake it forever. So you can. Yeah. That's the hard thing, because like if you put content out there you don't believe in it and stuff, it's like eventually like you're going to run out of steam. But when you write authentic pieces, like the newsletter I wrote yesterday is really brutally raw. Like, so the stuff I talk about is like somewhat kind of controversial that when people read it. So it wins over some people a lot, but some people don't like it. But like I spent 5 hours writing it. It was easy because I found it fun. So it's like, it's the only sustainable way that you can build a brand.
Yeah. Matt, 17 minutes into our podcast, you strongly believe that personal brand is important. You also said that it's no longer a choice. Even if you choose not to develop your personal brand, you actually been selected by the people in the social media network that you are not existent. Mm-hmm. Then you talk about, if we want to put personal brands, let's be authentic. I got all that. I want to be in the social media. I want to be authentic. I own a cafe, just an example. But now this part of my body is saying that it just sounds difficult. You know, everything need a password. Everything need a website. I don't know where to start. So if I'm engaging with you, or I'm going to your course, or is this something rocket science stuff that people like me will not be able to learn? Or how can you simplify it? Because I want to get there, but I tell you right now, I'm worried. I'm worried that I'm not strong enough to get there, because it just sounds like beyond my year.
Yeah, it's just a thing that, like, because it's so foreign, somebody can't fathom the actual task of doing it. That's the problem. So like for making LinkedIn, right? You log in, you create an account. There's an AI tool. If you don't have a good headshot, you don't have to go to the local photographer. You can use an AI tool, upload 25 wedding photos you've got or whatever. Boom, you've got a headshot. So you've got a nice clean headshot. Then you can use a tool like Canva or something and just follow and just build a banner. So like you can have that done with proper instructions in like 2 hours. It's like not hard. And then from there, then it's just navigating the actual platform and just understanding it. The hard thing is because it's so foreign, you can't, like, let's say you got to grow your business, you got to go to a networking event. Everyone's been to one. I know when I walk in, I got to have my business cards. I got to shake hands with all these people. I got to be really interested in them all. I got to give them all a business card. I got to follow them up after. I got to try and organize as many coffee chats as I can. It's sure, it may be scary, but like, you know what to do. But with LinkedIn and stuff, it's the same. It just has a process of doing it. It's just most people just get intimidated by the process because they think it's just like beyond me. Like I have a 67-year-old doctor in our program, and he's booked like $30,000 of revenue from just posting like on LinkedIn, and now he's going through another thing as well. And like he loves it. Like, and for himself, he asked the same question when he started. He's like, I'm intimidated. Like, you know, he's not young, you know what I mean? But like at the same time, he was keen, and he just did it. And now he just loves it. And so he's just like, yeah, I don't understand why everyone else doesn't do this, because it was kind of humanized. So it's just, there's this big fear of like, I don't know all this stuff. It's actually just simple tasks. There's nothing that's like overly complicated with it, as long as you get the right instruction though. Because the problem with a lot of people now, there's this big hoo-ha thing around coaching and courses. Everyone thinks they're going to get ripped off. They're like, I can find the information on YouTube. Why don't I do it there? You can find all the information on YouTube, how to go to university. Why do you still go there? It's like you're committing and you're doing the directed learning of like how to actually do it. So I would suggest, if anyone, just to like buy that $100 course on how to set up your LinkedIn profile correctly and just do it. And then just spend the money. Because the months of anticipation and stress is just not worth it. It's like the amount of courses I buy is like insane just to get little bits of insight and coaching, because it just fast forwards your learning process when you're actually going through it. So I would say getting the right guidance is key, because otherwise you will log in and sit there and be like, I have no idea. It's like opening like a textbook at school of algebra and me looking at it and being like, yeah, there's just no way. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it.
Good.
That's great. So Matt, all right, so our business owners that are listening in now are going to set up their LinkedIn profiles if they don't already have one. And if they have one with a 10-year-old photo, they're going to update it. They're going to fix their banners so that everyone knows what they do when people land on this. How do we now have this wonderful LinkedIn profile? How do we use it as a sales machine, or how can we leverage this to actually get these warm leads that we've mentioned?
Sure. Before we get into it, there's a range of using LinkedIn. So there's no person that can be like, I'm using LinkedIn to get leads and the best way. There's always a better way. So wherever you are on the spectrum, it also depends on how much experience you've had and how much time commitment you've got, because you can go from getting a VA prospecting for 12 hours a day with automations, with funnels, like consistently 24/7, right? But like that's an extreme. So it's like you don't have to be there. Most of it's like baby steps on getting there. There's 3 things though that you want to focus on. That's like kind of what our program teaches. There's conversations, there's content, and there's conversions. So it's the 3 C's. All conversations is how many conversations do you start with your ideal potential clients. So it's just like in-person networking. And if you built a business off referrals, everyone knows like your strength of your network is your net worth, right? Like it's the same thing, but how many conversations authentically have you started with people? So it's how many do you start per day, whether it's 5, 10, 30, whatever you want. The second piece is creating actual content. All that means is writing a LinkedIn post. That's it. And adding a photo to it. And then how good you get at writing, how you address the author. I would start with posting once a week. Like that's it, because most people will stress. And then the third C is conversion optimization. So the main thing for that is when someone clicks on your personal LinkedIn profile, not your company one, pretend your company one doesn't exist and you don't even need it. It's just there as like a face. They click on your personal LinkedIn profile. What's the next step they can take from that profile? So is it, book in a time to see you as a doctor? Is it like sign up to your newsletter? What is the next step somebody you want them to take in your process, and how many people are actually doing it? Because they're the 3 things you want to measure. Yeah. So by measuring those 3 things, they're the 3 outputs you want to do. And then you just improve them over time as you go through.
That's brilliant. Matt, when we spoke to you we've had a chat before, and you mentioned, I think it was December, where you said you've generated a considerable amount of money just with LinkedIn. Are these the strategies and tactics you yourself used? Is this what this is all, like your whole program, is it all based on your learnings yourself?
Yeah. So I started this. So when I started on LinkedIn, I started being serious in December 2022. I followed what the LinkedIn feed. So the LinkedIn feed, there's a lot of these top creators, social sellers. They tell you what to do. So I followed it for 6 months and I got 0 leads. I quickly realized that all of these social sellers online had 0 sales experience, and they were just very good marketers for their cheap courses. That's it. They'd never sold B2B high ticket, which is like actual services which you need a relationship with someone. So everything is geared and engineered to selling an hoodie, you know what I mean, online, like an e-commerce thing, right? You can write really clever copywriting and you can convince someone and they'll just click the button. It's like Amazon, right? With B2B high ticket, it's not business to business, it's human to human. You buy from the other human. You don't care really about the business. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to build and solve this problem. And so that's what we do. So what I teach is essentially the problem that I solved for myself, but I took my sales experience to actually build it inside there as well. And there's just a range. So the things that I do on LinkedIn, because I have resources and time and all that kind of stuff, I don't suggest other people to do that. I suggest them to do quite a few steps back. just because it'll be much too intimidating. But now, like from the processes that we do, like we did, I think it was like $250,000 in about 100 days. That's what we did in sales. And that was, I don't even have a website. I just have a landing page. Like you don't even need a website. So I just have a profile. People see my content. They click on it. They book a WhatsApp chat with me. I don't take meetings, period. And then we chat on WhatsApp. I give them the details and then we close the deal. And I do this all while walking my dog. Like, and then we sell them in, we do live coaching calls, and I keep updating the program because as I learn new things, people are always going to be like 6 to 12 months behind me, let's say. So I'm just teaching you the fresh stuff that I learn and just keep upgrading it each time. So there's always a starting point for most people, and that's just cleaning your profile up and posting once a week. Like that is just start there and start having chats with people. But you can take it to the extreme of like hiring a virtual assistant or two who starts conversations with like 50 people every single day and just books your meetings like on autopilot. Like you can go to that extreme as well. But it's not like you're going to go from like just starting to that because it's too intimidating. It's like a slow, gradual piece that you build up. And as you get return on investment, you'll then be like, oh, I'll put more investment into that as you see ROI, and you keep building it. It's not like this massive extreme that you want to jump at one time.
Yeah, Matt, can I give an example? Just a real kind of like a example and how we resolve this. Just say, as an example, I'm a old real estate agent. Real estate agent. I've been around for the last 2 decades selling houses in Melbourne, and most of my investors are either my network that I know personally. I don't have any social media. I don't have any LinkedIn. So I watched these episodes and I said, right, I spent 2 hours in creating my LinkedIn, have the landing page, have everything I prepare. But I haven't got any networks. Okay, I start with connecting with the people I know. So Gustav, Arianto, Natalie, Matt. Okay, so by end of the week, I got 100 network from the people I know. How do I start? So I booked your course, if you don't mind to give a little bit more. How do I get 5 warm leads? When do you think I will start generating these leads if I'm as fresh as that situation right now?
A lot of it depends on how strong your brand is offline when you come online. So like if CEO of Qantas started posting on LinkedIn and they started a new business, of course, then they get like hundreds of leads, like because they have a strong brand offline. So it very much depends on how strong is your brand offline. I know this for a few reasons, people in the program, but even out of our program, there's someone in my BNI group whose LinkedIn profile is, by all accounts, really bad, but they have such a good brand offline that they go to a lot of events, they donate a lot of charity stuff. Whenever they post, they just get leads, just because they have such a strong brand and they haven't actually got all this other stuff sorted. I want to sort it for them, but I don't try and push it on anyone. But like, you know, they post a poorly written post from LinkedIn standards, but they get 85 likes because they've built so much audience in their past, over 25 years of experience in this one industry. So if someone's had 25 years experience in real estate, and then they can add every single connection that they've ever known in that real estate on the platform, they're going to have like the warmest audience ever. So their first leads are going to come from referrals, 100%. Because what's going to happen is like, what you need is in say business-wise, in small business, I've found that you just need a way to have a persistent reminder of existence. So you have to constantly remind people that you exist. That's why networkers, everyone knows this really good networker who's just a weapon, and just everyone knows them and they're spoken about and they just get all this stuff fall in their lap. It's like that, but just bringing it to the online realm. So if they had that and they added people straight away, they're probably going to get warm referrals faster than like LinkedIn leads per se. They're probably going to get more of that. And the way they're going to grow it is they're going to add everyone in their network currently. Then they're going to add every single person that's connected to the people in their network in their local area that are active on LinkedIn. That's what they're going to do. So that anyone that, say, Natalie knows Bill, and you've known Natalie for 10 years, and you say, hey, Bill, I saw you connect with Natalie. I've known Natalie for 10 years. We did this at this. I thought I'd reach out and say hi. It's not weird because you've just said hi to someone. And then when you've added Bill, then they say with Natalie engaging on your content, they're like, oh, who's this person? Oh, my brother actually needs to sell their house. Natalie, do you know this person? Yeah, it's really, really good. Okay, cool. So you're constantly building it. So for that local niche, they want to target the postcode within 8 kilometers around the postcode. Find the people in that postcode that are like really active on the platform first, add those people and engage and comment on those people's stuff so everyone in the local network can see you, because you just want eyeballs. So it's like if you comment on someone's LinkedIn post, other people see it. When you post, other people see it. And then it's just consistently building. So I would say if someone's a 25-year experienced real estate agent and they came in and did that, they'd probably just crush, most likely, if they had a really good reputation and they strategically made sure that they've added everyone they've ever spoken to, because they've already built trust with them. So they'll take, when they see, let's say Natalie's the real estate agent, when they see Natalie's post, because they've had 2 dinners with Natalie 5 years ago and they know Natalie's kids, right? They're going to read the post because they like her and trust her. And then when they see that their other friends have commented on it, then on the weekend when someone's talking about selling the house, it's like they're going to think about it over anyone else, other than that really crappy, letter you get in the mail from that real estate agency, which is just, they just do the 5,000 letter drop with the super cringe photo with the person like sitting there with their arms crossed or whatever. It's like, you want to be more authentic than that kind of thing. That's a specific real estate agent, what I would do.
Yeah. And Matt, can I just ask another question? So far, where is the AI part of it? So far, I have to register on LinkedIn. I have to do the work. I have to put the article. Where is the AI part of this whole thing that can make my life easier while I'm doing that? Is this after I do all that? Or it can be done, together at the start?
Yeah. So most small business owners I speak to think that AI and social media is a magic trick, that if you just get this one tool and you do this one thing, you're just going to 3x your business overnight. And that's just like not correct. What AI is the same as software. Can you imagine if like 15 years ago, I remember when I was making the timetables back at KFC when I used to work there as a manager, we'd make the timetables of when people work. There was no app to remind people. There was like this terrible portal that you logged in and like it was really hard to track and you had to manually make it. You fast forward 15 years and they've got like these apps which you put in your leave, all this kind of stuff, right? You can't fathom going back to the old thing, but until you did the old thing first and you move forward, you wouldn't know. And that's the same with AI. It's like most of the stuff we have to cover off at the beginning is fundamentals, because if you just try to jump into using this AI tool, but you don't know the fundamentals, it just won't work. Where the AI layers in is throughout the process of, like, we have this process in the program called the 101 training where we help you define your avatar. So your avatar is who is your ideal potential client, like who is the best person. We've built a purpose-built AI that co-assists you. So you speak to the AI, it's essentially a GPT, chat GPT. So you say, hey, this is my target market, this is their description. You give all that information. And then it comes back and it helps you kind of workshop it. And then after you give all that information, it'll tell you their fears and frustrations and wants and aspirations. So you don't have to like think about it. So it's just leverage on helping you do what you already do. So we just layer in AI software and technology throughout the whole program that helps accelerate the speed at which you can do things all throughout. Then there's a lot of points where it actually happens, but it still doesn't replace the fundamentals, because like there is no AI tool that's going to magically just get leads for you. It's impossible. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I think that's a misconception out there where they just think AI tools solve all the problems, but it's knowing what to use when and where, by the sounds of it.
It probably causes more problems than it gives people. It's kind of like, it's hard. Everyone thinks that there's going to be this software tool that saves them. But like my newsletter yesterday, like the hook is like it's ripping on the posts that say these 8 AI tools are going to increase your revenue by 300% in 3 months. It's like it just never happens, like ever. Like it's just without that, all it does is it elevates what you're already doing. Like it just doesn't. There's no magic trick there. That's the hard thing. But there's this big misconception that I've got to do this AI thing, but then people jump on. It's kind of like if you used Microsoft Excel and if you didn't have a project or anything and someone said, just log into Excel and just learn how to use it, you'd have no idea. You're like, there's this sum function, there's this. But if someone, told you to actually build a project management thing and this, you'd go in and use it and you'd be like, oh, I get how it works and stuff like that. It's the same thing kind of with AI.
Yeah. So Matt, you right now getting warm leads to your own business right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, you putting everything that you know, the business fundamentals, your personal brands, combining with layers of different AI, great photos every 2 months because you can have a great photo probably updating automatically. Do you mind to share exactly what you do day to day? Like if we are in your business, getting people to come to join and to pay fee to understand all this. So if that's the business as a business that providing service to coach or to help other business to find warm leads, for example, share with us what you do day to day, if you don't mind, because that will give a better picture, maybe.
So
how hard we have to, yeah.
What do I do, or what would I suggest people do day to day on LinkedIn to do it?
What you do?
I do? Okay.
Yeah.
Me, I only work like 3 or 4 hours a day, so I don't really do much. So I kind of just
that's a good start.
Now we've set up our model. So now all I do every day is I get up, sit with my dog, I walk about 45, 50 minutes to the gym. I just think and write at the same time. I do a CrossFit workout. I go have a coffee. I walk home. I started work earlier than I usually would right now. And then I do about 3 hours of deep work every day, only doing the things that are going to move the needle. And the things that are moving the needle are building something new in the program so good that anyone can watch it, engaging with our community, answering anyone's questions, because it's like an online, think of it as a Facebook group. It's on another platform, but as a Facebook group. And then we run 2 live 90-minute sessions every week, which I'm on. And we have other coaches on there as well, like copywriting coaches and funnels coaches as well. So my 100% main goal is just always thinking about how to make the program better. But the actual work I do is like 3 to 4 hours. Like I haven't done anything today. Like I don't even look at my emails. Like I just pretty much say no to everything, like period, and just solely focus on like the main goal. And the next main goal I've got right now is today I'm going to record like one section of the program, which is be about 45 minutes. And then I'm going to finish our offer documentation, and like that's it. And then the next 2 big things I'm attacking is we're upgrading our content online program. Think of it like a pre-recorded sessions that people watch. I'm going to do that. So in 3 weeks, so I've just got 3 weeks to plan and do that. And then after that, I got another one as well. So that's pretty much all that I do every day.
Yeah. Wow. I've been following you as well, and I look at how you respond to your post. It's very amazing because you're literally responding to every comment coming your way. It's actually with meanings. You don't just say thank you. I can't remember. I see your response as just a one-liner thank you, thumbs up, or something like that. You actually put it's full response, and I'm thinking, how can someone spend only 3 hours on this, responding to 258 comments?
3 hours on actual work. I do spend a lot more time engaging on comments, that's for sure. So I spend probably a couple of hours on LinkedIn there and about responding. The reason being is because a lot of people don't look at it this way. So you can only really post once a day on LinkedIn. There's some other people that post 3 times and make it work, but my suggestion for most business owners is like twice a week. Just keep it like that to start off with. I do 4 to 7 days, let's say, sometimes at the same time. But each time you post, when you respond to a comment, that is content. That's the thing. So if I respond to a comment and I add more and more insight, what it does is it builds more trust with somebody. So because what a lot of people do, and this is a mistake, is they hire like a virtual assistant to log in to them in LinkedIn and add comments to people's posts that are just really generic. But that doesn't add any value. It shows FaceTime that you can be seen. But the problem is what it doesn't get is it doesn't allow you to show authenticity. And people underestimate by leaving a really good comment that's very insightful. Because if you read a LinkedIn post and it's very, very interesting, you always go to the comments and you want to see the juicy stuff, you know what I mean, in the comments. And then if you see a conversation thread with someone, the author, back and forth with someone giving them advice that was really good, you know that they're not full of BS in the post. They don't just have a ghostwriter writing the post. It's like they can, in live time, answer someone's questions. So each time you comment and leave that, if you just leave a one-line comment, you're not giving someone you're showing face, which does do something. It is good and you can grow doing that, but you're not winning trust over with people. That's the problem. So like each time you do engage, it's like, it's not just one person that sees the comment. It's like tons of people see the comment as well. So it's like a tactic that you use as well. And it's the same as like how you respond to anyone's message when they message you, because anything you do on the platform is your brand. Like, so when you leave a comment, that represents your brand. When you post, how your profile is, how you exchange with someone in a message. So it's like all of these things define you as well. So for me, it's like, because I know that it's quite easy to do because I know the impact of actually doing it as well. I could get into commenting as well. I mean, that's another strategic thing you can do, but
yeah. Matt,
and how Matt, sorry, Nat, you first.
I just wanted to ask Matt, before we go on, the warm leads, when we talk about warm leads, I just want our audience to understand that doesn't just mean 5 randoms contacting you in your messages, asking something. What do we actually define as a warm lead so they actually understand what they're aiming for?
Yeah. I'll give two answers to this. One, if anyone's watching or they watch recording, I'll tell you in 2 minutes how you can just immediately get warm leads. Like right now after this call, just go and do it. Promise you'll get warm leads. Second, I'll talk about the definition of warm leads. If I was a business now, I'm kind of throwing a question there because I know it's going to be helpful. If I was a business now and I didn't have any leads, what you should do is you should run what's called an offer campaign. So you should put together a list of anyone you've ever spoken to who's ever said no to you on your email, social medias, literally everything. Put a list of 1,000 people on your email list. Email them all and literally just use there's a guy called, I can't remember what his name is. You just use the 9-word email. Are you still looking to solve this problem? Just email every single person in your whole list and message everyone, because most people haven't done this. It's called a close loss campaign. Anyone that's ever said no, are you still going to solve this problem? If they come back with yes, then just say, oh, that's awesome. We've actually got this special offer. We'll just call it the March special for now. I'll just give it a name. We're looking to work with just 3 more clients to get X output. And we've got this additional 2 bonus things that we're giving, an extra one-on-one session and a 20% discount. If that's of interest, I'm happy to ask some questions if it's a good fit, and then we can jump on a call. That's if anyone wants to just get warm leads immediately. If you do that, if you're an established B2B business, you should do that every 3 months. You'll just get leads. When we talk about like warm lead, it's someone who is engaged and interested in your stuff. So they have admitted to a problem that they might have, and they are potentially looking for some help with it. That's what I consider a warm lead. So it's not like looking to be sold to. It's like if you ask someone in the DMs, like I'll say this, hey, thanks for viewing my profile. Are you just here for the content, or are you looking for some help generating some more leads this year? And if they say, I might actually be looking for some help, then I say, is it okay if I ask some questions? They say, sure. I ask them 2 questions. They answer and I say, cool, I think you might be a good fit. Let's jump on a chat for 20 minutes. I would consider that a warm lead. So someone that said, yeah, I do need help. It may not be immediately, but it might be in a little bit of time.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Just so we just understood the difference between it, because I know you speak very heavily of, you got the cold the strangers, and we need to convert them throughout the whole process. They're not strangers. They've already showed some level of engagement, like those 1,000 people that we've just told people to contact via email. They've already
there's a percentage chance that they have the problem and that they need it solved in a certain period of time. And it's like a numbers game. Like, you've got to be like authentic, but like there's always someone that had the conversation with their business partner about, or maybe their partner about, they want to sell their house, like, right? Like, if you're the authentic real estate agent that reaches out to them first and reminds them and they like you, it's like, you're probably going to get the first thing.
So Matt, what happened if I do all this, but I don't like selling?
Don't like selling? You should not run a business. I don't.
We know the answer, don't we?
And I think this is the key, right? I think this is one of the key that I agree with you.
There needs to be a reframe, though. The problem is everyone thinks you're selling, right? The selling has a bad term. You should just reframe it to helping. Like, if my dentist didn't follow me up and remind me after my 6-month appointment, and then 3 years later I had a hole in my tooth, I'll be really pissed off. Like, so if you reframe it as like helping, if you identify that they have a problem, sometimes they need a nudge along to actually help them. So I like any action I do, I always try to think, okay, am I helping the person now? Is this a helping or is this selling? If you have that reframe, you won't have that feeling of salesy. And a lot of the time that feeling of salesy comes when you do something inauthentic. You don't feel like it's authentic, and you also feel like you're overhyping, and like, it's like, you know, there's a lot of examples, I won't go into it, but like, if you just reframe and you're like, I'm just really going to help as many people as I can, then you won't feel like you have to sell.
Yeah.
Matt, we do have to ask you some questions about cold calling, because with your background, and you mentioned before when you worked, I think, was it for Zoom, where you were the number one salesperson? Was it Zoom? Yeah. Does cold calling even play a role in today's selling environment, landscape, whatever we're going to call it? I mean, with everything that's going on, we've got these social media platforms that we can use. Does cold calling still have any relevance?
The first thing about, like, say, cold calling, cold emailing, posting warm content, all of them work. The problem that every small business has is that they just don't invest enough time into doing one. So like, anyone, like the business before this, like, I used these headphones and I sat here and I just cold called our way to $1 million a year. Like, it works. It was really hard, and emotionally it's difficult, and without experience and guidance, it's really difficult to do, but there's heaps of hacks that you can do it. So if you're in Australia, if someone said to me, Matt, you got to grow a business in 30 days, what would I do? I would just cold call. That's what I would do, because it's the fastest way to get to a decision maker. So you just have to use a lead tool which sources phone numbers, mobile numbers. You got to make sure you're calling from a mobile number. And then this is where you layer in AI. You can use an auto dialer that dials 5 numbers at the same time. So you have three times as many conversations an hour as somebody else. So like, it definitely does. The problem with cold calling is that how it's very easy to start doing. It's like starting a cafe. Anyone can just go start a cafe. But profitable cafes, that's why they all die. You've never seen a cafe last. There's like the Grounds of Alexandria in Sydney, right? Great cafe. But like, they're a cafe of one. It's like, that's the problem with cold calling. It's actually really difficult emotionally to do it, and most people can't. But it is probably the best way. Like, if you don't have leads, like, you want them fast, it's probably, if you don't have cash for ads and you have a good ad agency, I'd probably cold call. But the problem is, emotionally, it's really difficult. That's why people find it hard. But it's actually probably better, especially if you're calling people above 40, because they really don't like emails and DMs. They want an authentic human connection. So like, depending on your target market, it's actually a really good option. But I could go deep into cold calling psychology. The problem is people just mostly get it wrong. They just, if anyone wants to know how to cold call, just look my name up on YouTube. I put out a 10-part series on exactly how to cold call. Just watch that. It will tell you.
That's
Matt,
amazing.
can you go back? Sorry, Nat. I still want to know. I think I get it. I think I know, but I just don't want to speculate because this is important. So your business, UnlockAI, what can I get from your business? What can I get from your business so I can elevate not only my social media presence, but I also have the ability to improve myself to gain warm leads? Like, what's the process? How is this
How does it
a
work?
3 months course that like, what is it? What is it? How can I
So
learn
I'll
from
give
this?
you it. So we've got one single outcome of the business, and that's for a small business owner to generate 5 warm leads per week themselves with a system they control consistently, like in their business, without spending money on ads. That's the one single outcome. What we sell is a program that has, think of it like an actual school. So a school that teaches you with online lessons, and we teach you from the start to finish how to do it. But you don't just watch lessons. We have 2 live 90-minute classrooms each week with 3 breakout rooms. So each breakout room has a different expert coach in each. So when you get to a point in the program that you can't go to the next section or you need some advice, you come to these sessions and you ask, and we record all of the sessions. So if you get 15 minutes of advice, you don't need to write notes. You just go back and watch it and you execute. And then at the same time, think of it like a Facebook group. There's a community feed where at any time you can ask questions to myself, any of the coaches, anyone else, or you can message us directly. So the way I think about it is like, it's like, imagine a school of like learning how to drive, like online or something like that. It's just a school with a very one specific outcome, because as a business owner, we want you to walk away with your own self-sustaining lead gen system that uses your personal brand. So it's like, it uses you online so that you, if you're stressed about the week and you had your sales teams left or whatever, and you just want to log in on a Friday, similar to what Jared did for Brainiact, right? Very similar. He did it on Instagram. He just used to log in and just message people, and he was just good at it. But like similar to that, you can just learn how to just message people out of thin air and just have a conversation with them, maybe go meet them with coffee, and then maybe 3 months down the road you work with them. Because fundamentally, the problem that most small business owners have is like, they just put their head in the sand about sales and marketing, and they just like hope that these referrals are just going to come in, and they spend all their time on their systems. But the problem with spending time on your systems is like, if you don't have enough people you're working with, it's kind of pointless, because if you brought on 5 times as many customers, you should just throw those systems out and start again. So it's like, you want to market and sell and have consistent leads coming in, because that solves all the problems. You can build the systems. You can build a system in 2 days if you want. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like there's in 2 days. But yeah, it's essentially like a classroom experience of like learning.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's such a common thing that we hear from business owners, Matt. You know, I've got Facebook, I've got LinkedIn, I've got Instagram, I've got TikTok, but no one's coming to me. It's like they're waiting there for those leads to hit them. And I think this is where those are the people that you really can help, right? Even those that are just thinking that they're just hoping that somehow this influx will come in. But that doesn't really happen, does it, Matt?
I would say, if I had to boil down the number one dictating factor to like, just in small B2B businesses, let's say, it's just the number of conversations that are started, and that you have to pitch it into existence. There's a really famous entrepreneur called Daniel Priestley. He wrote about 4 books, one of them being called Key Person of Influence. So it's pretty much what I teach, but he wrote that book, very, very similar. We teach it exclusively on LinkedIn, but he's been on, if there's a podcast called The Diary of a CEO, probably one of my favorite podcasts ever. And he's interviewed by Stephen Bartlett, who's like one of the most famous entrepreneurs in the whole world from the UK. And he interviews Daniel, and he's like, what do people need to know about lead generation? And he says that you need to pitch it into existence. Things just won't happen. And the reason why there's all these people who just all of a sudden get all these leads, and like, you're like, how do they get so lucky, right? They all of a sudden got this big client. It's because they're out there just like hustling and speaking to people just all the time. And it doesn't matter whether you use LinkedIn or in-person networking, or like, it doesn't even matter. It just matters that most business owners that I've worked with, and I even worked at their businesses, is they just didn't spend enough hours actually doing the thing. Instead, they did the thing that lights them up, which is like building a new system for their accounting firm. Makes them feel good because they know how to do it. But when it comes to the uncomfortable thing, that they won't do that. So it's like, really, you've just got to start more conversations and say, all right, instead of 1 hour a week of marketing, I'm going to do 1 hour a day. And like, most of the problems will be solved if you do that. But it's kind of like that. It's understanding that there's two parts. There's like the thing you love doing and the thing that you don't yet love because you're not good at it, which is sales and marketing.
Brilliant. And before I hand over to Gus to wrap up, because we're at the end of the show, Matt, when people, our listeners, they want to get in touch, they want to learn more. We know you only have a one-page website, so perhaps the website's not where you want them to go. Where would you like them to reach out?
Definitely LinkedIn. Just go to LinkedIn, message me, or just go to my LinkedIn profile. There's a button that you can click. There's only one button on my profile to limit options, and it will take you to a single page with an 11-minute video, which tells you what we do. And if you're interested, you just click the button and you can book in a 20-minute chat with me over WhatsApp. So not an actual meeting, over an actual chat. And like, that's the easiest way. And then I just give information. I have a couple of meetings or chat meetings with someone to see if it's a right fit, because I don't push anyone to join. I only want people to join if they're like a hell yeah. Because if they're not, then if you're an maybe, okay, we'll give it a shot, I don't actually let anyone in the program that's like that. Just because to do a coaching program or a course, you have to be empowered, because you got to do it yourself. And so then that's the difficult thing. It's like, you've got to really like want it to actually do it, because it's not like someone just comes in and just like the magic just happens as well, because it does take time to get it right. There's no magic trick for lead generation. That's the hard thing.
Amazing. Wonderful. And Gus, going to hand it over to you to wrap up.
No problem, Matt. Thank you again for donating your time. It's very obvious that you are passionate about helping people and how they generate leads for their business. So this is what I took from the last 1 hour. You started by saying personal brand is important. Personal brand is not an option. If you are not developing one, then it becomes your brand anyway of not being around or not existent. Yep. LinkedIn allows you to penetrate your social media presence with higher value and make you more legitimate presence versus other platforms today. Your brand offline, equally important as online too. So just thinking that by creating all the social media will help you, if you do not have a good offline presence, then it will equally be challenging for you.
Definitely.
Persistent reminder of this is why online presence important, as it helps you to exist while you sleep.
Yep.
Great business is doing more than selling. I like this one. They are helping by creating solutions to your leads needs. Have more conversations, meaningful conversations, create leads. The question is, how do you have continuous stream of meaningful conversation about your service and offering? Increase your brand presence, leverage your social media, LinkedIn in particular, and follow up your leads. UnlockAI, led by Matt, can help you to learn all this. So please visit Matt LinkedIn to understand all this better and learn.
That was brilliant. That was a really good summary. That was awesome. Gustav, that was really good.
Thank you.
Thanks. It was awesome chatting. I really enjoyed this.
Amazing, Matt. We could have easily gone into a lot more depth, such as, comments and how else to do all that and more into cold calling, but I'm sure our audience has taken a lot from it. I know I did. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really like this. It was super fun.
Thank you.
And I hope everyone got value.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. For more information on Leader Talk and for some great resources to help your business grow, check out brainiact.com.au. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Gotcha.